2 years ago, when I became president, they were a very dominant group. They were very dominant. Today, they're not so dominant anymore.
The president today once again claiming he's got ISIS cornered, if not defeated. Meanwhile, more new developments from the president's surprise Christmas time trip. After visiting Iraq, President Trump spent some time in Germany, meeting with other top military officials aboard Air Force One. And then he and the First Lady took some time out to shake hands and take selfies with U.S. service members nearby. A reporter from Bloomberg tweeting out pics of the troops holding MAGA hats as they were waiting for him to arrive. Another one was holding a Trump flag, which the reporter says was put away when the soldier realized she was being photographed. So time now for tonight's Power Panel. Democratic strategist Antoine Seawright, the former deputy assistant to President George W. Bush, Brad Blakeman, and national security analyst Morgan Ortagus. Good evening to all of you. Great to have you with us.
Good evening.
Hello, Shannon.
Okay,
How are you?
So I am good. Let's start now with how the day began. This is a look at some of the headlines. A montage from here. NBC News says Trump becomes first president since 2002 not to visit troops at Christmas time. Newsweek, Trump is first president in 15 years to not visit troops during Christmas period. Raw story headline, this is the first Christmas since 2002 a president hasn't visited the troops thanks to Trump. And Huffington Post, Trump ditches tradition passing up Christmas visits to troops. Now, Brad, you would think that after his appearance there in Iraq, there'd be some backpedaling, but no, because now my Twitter is full of people who said, don't give him credit for going. So what do you do, Brad?
You can't win with the press. And the fact is, the press didn't pressure the president into going. This was a secret, probably in the works. I can tell you from firsthand experience, having planned these visits for President George W. Bush, that he wasn't forced into it. He was probably on his schedule all along, and something that was very well needed and appreciated by the troops. So the press can say what they want. The president did the right thing. It was well received, good morale boost. Kudos to the president. Well done.
Antoine?
Well, it's a lesson in all of this, Shannon. The first lesson is for my friends in the press is measure 3 times, cut once. Let's be patient on us criticizing the president. But I applaud the president for finally, after 2 years in his role as commander-in-chief, of visiting our troops in the war zone. I think it's great. Unfortunately, it's taken 2 years. But what I was so disappointed is in some of the language he used in visiting the troops when he lied twice. First about he gave them a raise, their first raise in 10 years, and the amount of money that they received. You know, he took credit for giving them a 10% raise when I think the number was actually 2.8 or something like that.
Okay.
The third thing I'm disappointed is that PolitiFact has already done the work for you, so you can thank them in advance.
And they're never wrong.
The third thing,
but we do have our own research department, so
the third thing I'm disappointed in is if we somehow set the bar of expectations so low that, you know, we're doing trophies and awards for the president, doing what I think the commander-in-chief should always do, and that's visit our troops who serve on the front line every single day to protect us at home and abroad.
Okay, Morgan, you are somebody who's been overseas on holidays. You know how this rates with people when the commander-in-chief does show up, but it sounds like people still don't want to give him credit for showing up. I mean, could he win in any possible scenario?
I remember the duck and cover alarm going off in Baghdad in 2007 for Thanksgiving. Many of our friends who were in the Green Zone or in Baghdad during those years probably remember this duck and cover alarm that I'm talking about. It was not our friend. And listen, when the president comes, or any of the senior leadership team in the cabinet, the vice president, when anyone comes like that of any political party, it's a moment of happiness for the troops, for not just for the troops, by the way. We've got people in the U.S. Embassy, our diplomats. Thank you to all of them that are serving, people from the intelligence agency, you know, from the FBI, et cetera, that are abroad. And so it's always a morale boost when they're there. And, you know, I disagree with my good friend Antoine. It's not about giving awards to the president. Instead, it's about the fact that no matter, you know, what he does, he is criticized for it. And let me just say this point, you know, for the young enlisted men and women who are spending their holiday overseas and who may have gotten a MAGA hat signed, you know, for other news outlets to write disparaging pieces that they were excited to see their president and wanted to have a MAGA hat signed, I think that really sinks to a new low. I mean, every year with the media, as it relates to covering President Trump, we think we can't go to a new low. Leave the enlisted troops alone. Let them be happy to see their president. Stop writing negative articles.
Morgan, would you feel the same if it was a Barack Obama hat or Michelle Obama hat?
I worked for Barack Obama. Antoine, I worked for Barack Obama. I was Barack Obama's I was Barack Obama's representative in Saudi Arabia as the
Morgan,
U.S. Treasury attaché. Yes, I worked
Morgan,
for
I'm
Barack
not
Obama.
speaking to
You
you
did
directly.
not.
Okay,
I'm speaking to the people who are singing on the choir that you're singing from. I'm not talking about you directly.
Okay, can I just say, though, I would have to double check this, but I heard today that it was historic that the First Lady went, too, into a combat zone for this visit. And I'm guessing a few troops were happy to see her, too. Just saying.
I'm sure they were.
Now, in the meantime, the shutdown continues. Our Mike Emanuel was just reporting that tomorrow they're going to try to get going again on Capitol Hill, see what they can do about that. Senator Patty Murray, Democrat, tweeting this, saying instead of bringing certainty into people's lives, President Trump is continuing to hurt workers and families with the hashtag Trump shutdown. He said he would be proud to shut down the government. Now he seems to not know how to get out of it. It's time for him to work with Dems to end this. Brad, will the Dems work with him?
Well, that's the $64 million question, or should I say maybe the $5 billion question. The president in the last few days has signaled his willingness to compromise, and now it's up to Democrats to meet him halfway. I happen to believe that this is the Democrats' shutdown. Why? Is because Republicans delivered the votes, all the votes necessary they could. Democrats could not be found to make this deal. So therefore, the government was shut down because they failed to deliver the votes necessary. The president is being perfectly reasonable. The $5 billion is a tranche that's pay as you go for the security of our nation. The Democrats are resisting this president so much that they're putting our national security ahead of their own political gamesmanship. Democrats have shut down this government more than any party that held the White House in our history. And shutdowns have gone as long as a month. They usually end in a few days, which shows what a charade this is. But I think the president needs to stand on principle, because this is his read your lips moment. If he doesn't stand on what he believed and what he got elected for, promises made must be promises kept.
Okay, I would like to know that Senator Murray is one of those who, when the 2013 Gang of Eight bill went to a vote, unanimously Democrats supported it in the Senate vote. And by the way, it included 700 miles of fencing and other border barriers. She voted for it. Schumer voted for it. Feinstein, Gillibrand, Hirono, Sanders, Warren, many, many others who are currently now in the Senate, Antoine, and they don't want a border now. They don't want a fence. They don't want a wall. Why'd they vote for it before?
Shannon, this manufactured crisis by Donald Trump, the Trump shutdown, and the manufactured outrage from the right is actually pretty funny, because what we know is that, you just said it, Democrats have voted for comprehensive immigration reform that included border security. We are having a fight today, or the government is shut down.
800,000, as Nancy Pelosi called it, immoral.
800,000 people are out of work because Trump wants to check a campaign promise
and they
so
won't
that he
vote
can
for
go back
something
to
they
his
voted
voters
for
and
before.
But what Democrats want is, we want border security, and what we want is to do comprehensive immigration reform. And so, unfortunately, the president in the executive branch does not want to work with the legislative branch to get this done.
Let me bring Morgan in here.
So we're going to be into the new year to get this done.
And Morgan, I mean, listen, he's not going to have much luck when the Democrats take over the House. That's not going to help him either. But did he give the Democrats a really nice Christmas gift early by saying, I will own this thing. I'm happy to do it. It's about national security for me. I'll own the shutdown. He did say that.
No, I think that kept his base happy, because that showed people that he was fighting for the things that he promised him. Listen, there's two main issues with this as we look for how do we move forward. First of all, I think that there's a lot of blame as it relates to congressional leadership for not getting this done for 2 years, where we had a House and Senate, if you're looking backwards. But looking forward, it's not just this $5 billion fight, because the president's acting chief of staff has indicated that they've given a new number to Congress that's somewhere between the 1.7 and the 5. But the wall comprehensively to get it built for before 2020 is going to take even more than the $5 billion that they're fighting over right now. So what you need to do, I think everyone needs to step back and look just away from the shutdown and say, what is going to be the projected total cost of this wall to get it done by 2020, by the time he's running for re-election or the end of his presidency? And what is that total cost, and what can you put on the table for the Democrats that to them will be a fair trade? Let's stop making this in such piecemeal things and shutting down the government every Christmas. Instead, let's make a more holistic approach to this, and let's get a deal done.
We'll see if they can, starting again tomorrow. Morgan, Brad, and Antoine. If the four of us couldn't work out, I don't know. We'll see what happens on the Hill. Thank you all very much.
Thanks, Shannon.
Thank you.